Hey Flosstube, it is Monday, January the 28th, and I'm recording this first thing in the morning. We are due for a big snowstorm here today in London, Ontario. Actually, much of Ontario is due for a snowstorm, and the wind gusts have just started. And so just a few moments ago, we had a really, really big wind gust, and it actually was really loud. So if that happens while I'm recording, that'll be pretty cool because then you'll get to hear it too. Welcome. My name is Caroline, and this is my Flosstube channel, mostly Flosstube. Sometimes I talk a little bit about my knitting, but I usually share that with another podcast that I put out with my knitting friends called, can you hear that? Called The Fiber Friends. And we record a little more sporadically, usually every other week. I also sew, and I have a project bag business on Etsy called Evertote, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I usually record a regular Flosstube update every Monday, and a few months ago I started doing a giveaway on the Monday video, and we call it Because Monday, because it's Monday, and sometimes we just need a little extra pick-me-up to start the week. So last week I did not record a Monday video, but I still did a giveaway. And those of you who are not part of the Facebook group, Friday Off the Grid, you wouldn't have heard about it, and I apologize for that. But sometimes it's my only way to communicate that I'm not going to be putting out a video, but I'm still doing the giveaway. So it is a wonderful group. Please consider joining us over there if you haven't already. Some of our members don't use Facebook really for anything else other than this group. It's a really positive place to be, very supportive. The stitching is amazing. We try really hard to keep it 99.9% stitching related and just kind. It's a nice place to be, and the stitching is amazing. That's where I hold the Because Monday giveaway. So every Monday it's a new drawing for a pattern, and then you just leave your comment on the entry post that's on the Facebook group. So last week, because I didn't do a video, I still posted a giveaway, and it was for a Mirabilia pattern. It was this Spring Queen pattern, and it was kind of a little extra special giveaway because I felt badly I wasn't doing a video. And so this was donated to me as a giveaway prize from a viewer, Nancy. So thank you, Nancy. She actually sent me 2 brand new in the package mirrors to give away. And so I thought last Monday was the perfect opportunity to give away the first one. So again, this is Spring Queen by Nora Corbett, and we had 266 comments. Now, some of those comments were, and I have a little favor to ask. On the Because Monday Facebook comment posting for the entries, if you could try to refrain from posting a response to anyone else, just leave that comment field just for the giveaway comments. Because what I do is I use the random number generator to pick a number out of the comments, and then I go in and I have to sort out which comment was actually for the giveaway and which ones weren't intended, which ones were sort of having a little conversation within the comment field. And so it can make it a little tricky for me sometimes, especially when there is 266 comments, to make sure that I'm getting the right person. So I did my best. Last week was kind of a fun one. I asked what people were making for dinner because I couldn't think of what to make for dinner. And at this point, I don't even remember what I made for dinner last Monday. We ate something, I know that. But it was kind of fun. So comment number 91 was chosen. So congratulations, Tina Goodall. And Tina, I hope I'm saying your name right. I do know for a fact that you are a fellow Ontarian up here in Canada, but I have misplaced your address. So I've sent you a message on the Facebook group, but if you could please message me privately with your details, I'll get this into Canada Post for you as quickly as I can. Okay, so next we have the new giveaway, Because Monday. Today's is a really fun one. It's a cute pattern. This is going to especially interest our American friends, and it is by Trail Creek Farm, and it's called the House of Hallelujah. So here it is. So this is our giveaway pattern for today. The House of Hallelujah by Trail Creek Farm, and you can find the entry place for this on our Facebook group, Friday Off the Grid. So good luck. I hope you like it. And I hope you win it if you really want to win it. So, it was a list day today, people. I have a lot of things to remember to talk about. So I made myself a list so that I would make sure I didn't miss anything. You know, when I was making this list, I thought, I have so much to say, but my own personal stitching is going to take up like about this much time in this video. It's a lot of other things that I have to talk to you about today, especially since I missed recording last Monday. Things tend to pile up that I want to talk about, and then I have to remember everything that I want to say. So I received some treasures in the mail over the last couple of weeks, and to say that I am touched and just so very thankful is not even, doesn't even begin to convey how I feel when I receive something that someone sends me. Somebody took the time to think about me and send me something in the mail. And receiving something in the mail that isn't a bill, I'll tell you, it's a gift for sure. So 2 of these things I have shown on the Fiber Friends podcast, but I'd actually really, really like to take a moment and share them again here with you, because I know there are a lot of cross-stitchers who watch me here who don't watch the Fiber Friends podcast because you're not knitters and you're not interested in that. I have said in the past, and I will reiterate this again, my Flosstube channel is nice and clean. It's totally PG. I keep it nice and clean. The Fiber Friends podcast is a little more, I wouldn't watch it with, if I had younger children, I probably wouldn't watch it with them. Just a public service announcement. There you go. So I shared these first 2 gifts on the Fiber Friends podcast, but I'd really like to share them again with you because the people who sent them to me, they deserve just my gratitude because they're amazing. Cheryl in New Jersey made all 3 Fiber Friends a gift for Christmas, and she sent it to me, and I was able to have the pleasure to take it with me to the podcast recording a week ago and surprise the girls with it. And Cheryl is a cross stitcher. I'm not sure that Cheryl watches this Flosstube channel anymore. I know she used to, but you know, life happens and we all get busy, and sometimes we just don't have enough time to watch all the things that we want to watch, because let's face it, there are a lot of really wonderful people recording videos out there now. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to say thank you again, even if she never sees it, because I know that you will want to see it, even if Cheryl doesn't see me thank her again. Cheryl made all of us a bag. And as a bag maker, when someone takes the time to make you a bag, it's pretty special. So she hand-pieced the fabric that's on the bottom here. This is all pieced together by her. So it's like, what would you call it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like a 20 patch, 10, 15. So 15 patches. I can't count. There's 6 across. 18 patches, pardon me, that she pieced together, and then she turned it into this lovely knitting bag. It's got snaps at the top, no zip, nothing to catch the yarn at the top, if that's what you prefer. Some people don't care if there's a zipper at the top, and others, if they have caught their knitting in a zipper at the top before, they're really rather careful about how they do it. She lined it with this beautiful red. It's just the loveliest Christmas bag. So I have some Christmassy type yarn in my stash somewhere that I was planning on making myself a pair of Christmas socks. And so I think this is the perfect project bag for me to put a work in progress for some Christmas socks. Look, she even put a little bit of machine embroidery on the top there. And I've done that before. If you remember the Evertote holiday collection, I had the white snowflake along the edge. And that, you know, making sure that it's straight, making sure that it's perfect and beautiful. I love it. I just love it. So Cheryl, thank you. Thank you again so much. It's a beautiful treasure. Okay, next up, and this was a gift that I knew was coming for me. And also this particular friend sent 2 more treasures along with it so that, again, I could surprise the fiber friends with this. I am really the stitcher of the group out of the 3 of us, though Adrienne, my friend Adrienne of the Fiber Friends, we met as stitchers, and you have met her on this channel before. I've had her on, she's shared her whips with you. You may remember she had a beautiful Dimensions butterfly design that she shared with you, and she had a few large-scale full coverage pieces. One that she'd been working on for her mom that was poppies, a poppy design, which was stunning. Adrienne doesn't really stitch very much anymore, but she has become a voracious knitter. And so, and Louise, our 3rd fiber friend of the bunch, also is a stitcher. She stitches a little bit, but she is, again, she probably knits the most out of all 3 of us. There's always knitting in her hands. And she is also a knitting teacher. So Diana from Malaysia, and those of you on the Facebook group will know her as Django Sam, and you will, trust me, you will have seen her posting before on the Facebook group because she stitches the most stunning large-scale pieces. You know, generally sampler, she's done some Sampler Cove and some ink circles, sort of the large-scale pieces that are 1 color of floss. The one that she's working on right now, I believe, is Kaleidoscope, and she's doing it on a dark a dark background with this sort of electric blue silk floss on the top, and it's stunning. It is stunning. A few months ago, Diana started trying her hand at dyeing some silk single ply floss. And she sent me some pictures and she said, "Would you like some?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I would. How fast can you send it to me? Because that's beautiful." And Diana sent 3 skeins of floss in colors that she knew were our favorite colors. 1 for me, 1 for Louise, and 1 for Adrienne. And so I gifted the girls theirs the last time we recorded. But I wanted to share what Diana had sent for me with you because I knew you would appreciate it. And she nailed the color. She nailed the color. So she sent me an entire hank of single ply spun silk. And if this is your first time watching my channel, this is the color I seem to wear all the time. Every time I'm looking at my videos or editing them or looking through old screen, I'm always wearing this color. And I think my husband thinks that I only have 1 sweatshirt because he made a comment a few weeks ago, you know, like, wear all your clothes, why don't you wear anything different? I know that sounds awful, but you know, you've lived with someone for 25 years. Sometimes things come out a certain way. Yeah, one of those conversations. So, and I realized, because I do have different clothes, but they're all the same color. And after 25 years, maybe he's just not looking that closely. Because I have, and maybe I need to buy some different colors. I have 4 sweaters that are this color. 4. And I wear them a lot because I love to wear black. So I have like a million black shirts. And then I'm always cold. So I wear a sweater over top, but they're all exactly the same color. And I don't think he's looking at me that closely. And I think he thinks that I only have 1 sweater. So anyways, they're all this color. And so Diana nailed it. This truly is my favorite color. I love it. And I have plans for it. And I'll share those with you in a moment because I have one last very special thing to share with you. So I've mentioned before a woman named Daylene. Try saying a woman named Daylene. It's the D and the D together, the two Ds. Daylene Wilson. She just started a Flosstube channel just a little while ago, and her channel name is So Grateful. And I'm going to put that in here, and I'm also going to link to her channel in my drop-down box below. Daylene she's just fun. She is fun. She's the kind of, sorry about that. The phone just rang, and if I'm recording on my phone, so when that happens, everything shuts down. Okay, I was telling you about Daylene. Daylene, I started chatting with on Instagram first, I believe. Either that or through a few comments that she left on my YouTube channel here. I can't remember how we first met each other, but I just, I just enjoy her. I like watching her show. I like chatting with her. She's just one of those people that makes me feel happy when I watch her. And so Daylene messaged me and she said, I thought about you. I have a little something to pop in the mail for you. Can you share your address? And so I did. And a few weeks later, a very heavy little box arrived in my mailbox. And I mean, it was about this big, but it was heavy. And I thought, oh, this is odd, because I don't know, you when someone says they're going to send you something, you think, oh, well, maybe a pouch of tea or something like that, And I opened up the box, and this is what Daylene made me. It is a pin keep that is so beautifully I'm covering it up because it's one of those, like, you just wanna hug it. It's filled with crushed walnuts, and that's what gives it the weight, and it is stunning. So it's very bright in here today because of the snow that's outside, and these windows are quite large, and so I apologize that you're not getting the. Let me see. I'm gonna just block the light a little bit there. Then you can see her beautiful stitching. It is the sweetest thing. It looks exactly like the chickadees that come to my feeder. She finished it amazingly beautifully. The detail on it is stunning. The way she finished the edges on the side. Is this a chenille trim? Is that what that's called on the side? That little bit there. Everything was hand stitched. Every stitch, every teeny tiny stitch, anything that was added on was done by hand and done perfectly. She has got buttons on the bottom here. It's a little bit of like a velvety velour feel on the bottom. It's soft and beautiful. And then look at the fabric on the back. It's like a fall day. And those trees are straight. The fabric is straight. She has a tiny little line here, and you can't even see it because she matched her thread color to the color of the fabric where she sewed up the little, do you see it now? That's where she would have had the little hole to flip it inside out and fill this treasure. And I keep saying the word treasure, but seriously, that's what these are. I will treasure them forever. They're just amazing gifts. And then she put a little charm at the top that says made with love. And it was. And you can, I don't know. I was extremely touched. So, to say that I have been lucky to receive such amazing gifts from friends and to have met such wonderful people in cross-stitch land has been a gift itself. So thank you all. Thank you so much. Okay, so that is my show and tell for today because I had to share that with you. So thank you for letting me share it. Okay, next up, let me check my list, make sure that oh, there was one more thing. This is why I wrote it down. I was talking about Cheryl in New Jersey, who made me the bag. Cheryl lives in New Jersey. I went to New Jersey last June, and if I'd had more time, I would have tried to get together with her. And so I'm hoping, and Cheryl, if you're watching this, I'm hoping that the next time I go to New Jersey, maybe I might be able to get together for a cup of coffee with you, because this is the first time I'm mentioning it on the channel, because I've been a little nervous to talk about this, because I'm not quite sure how I feel yet about the fact that I'm going to the Flosstube retreat in New Jersey this year in August. So and it's not because I don't know why. I think it's because I've never been to a retreat that's this big. I've never been to a thing that's this big where I don't really know a lot of people. So, and I think a lot of us have these sorts of feelings. Those of us who are extroverted introverts probably feel a lot of similarities in that, where it's a room full of people that you don't really know, and am I going to fit in? So, just hang on. So I'm very excited about going. I really am, but I'm a little nervous because it is a little out of my comfort zone to be in a room full of that many people that I don't know. And I mean, I watch a lot of Flosstube. I know that I'm going to recognize a lot of people, and I'm probably going to feel like I know a lot of you. But I think that's a little different than knowing, but you know what? What do I know? I've never been to a retreat with a lot of other people that I watch. So the retreats that I go to are like 20 people, and I've known them all for 15 years. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also extremely excited. So that is my big news about New Jersey. And so my bag from Cheryl in New Jersey makes me, look forward to a retreat. So if you're going to be there too, let me know, and maybe we can start chatting. If you're nervous about going, if you've never been to a retreat like this before and you're nervous about going as well, message me, email me, caroline@evertote.com, and maybe we can start chatting before we get there, and maybe we'll feel like we know each other a little bit better before we meet in real life. Does that make sense? Anyway, I've probably just made myself seem really goofy and kind of weird, but you know what? It is what it is, and I'm going to be really honest about it now, rather than get there and, I don't know, I do something funny and then people think I'm just weird because I either didn't talk to anybody, which I can't see that happening because I talk a lot. But this is a lot of people. So hopefully we'll get to meet each other in August at the retreat. Okay, so I went to Stitch It Central a few weeks ago. I mentioned it on the Friday Off the Grid video when I chatted. I mentioned that I'd met my new friend Kim, who lives very close to me here in London, Ontario. And Kim was kitting up a Heaven and Earth design. And Kim, I think you should share a picture of that with us on the Facebook group if you're so inclined, so that we can see how things are going. And I had set myself a goal to not do a lot of extra shopping. No new patterns. I don't need any new, really. I want new patterns, but I don't need any new patterns. I didn't buy any new patterns. I just bought what I went in there to buy, which was more Weeks Dye Works for my Rosewood Manor corners and curves, because I know that I wasn't going to have enough. And I was a little concerned about dye lots, because that can be a problem with the over-dyed cottons, especially when you're working with old stash like I am. So I took in some skeins of what I had, and I made sure to tell Maria and her husband when I walked in, I said, these are mine, and I had a little twist tie around them just so they didn't think I was stealing them, and I was just checking dye lots. And then I went over and managed to find, and I thought I would show these to you. These are the colors together that make up, actually, let me show you the other thing that I bought first, and then I'll show you the color palette. I always like to check out the fabric that needlework shops have, because I might not buy patterns, but I'm always going to need more fabric to stitch the patterns that I have on it. And I have favorites, and you can just kind of see it down here in the bottom here. R&R Reproductions has truly become a favorite of mine. The color is, the colors are very neutral, but beautiful and soft. The quality of the linen is it's excellent, and I love stitching on it. And so my first experience stitching on it was my Modern Folk Embroidery Seasons Mystery Stitch Along from last year. And I have just enjoyed it so much that any time I have seen R&R Reproductions in real life for sale, I buy it because I know I'm going to love it. And so I bought quite a lot when Kathy and Neil closed down Thread and I. And then when I was at Stitch It Central, I managed to find some more, and I snagged it because it was beautiful, and I know that I will use every scrap. So this is a 36 count Winter Brew. That's the colorway. So Winter Brew. And again, because of the lighting, it's not going to show true to form, but you're just going to have to take my word for it that it's gorgeous. And now you can see, I'll put this backdrop here like that, the color palette for corners and curves there. That's still not showing very well, is it? Anyway, no, it's not gonna. How's that? That's better. There. Beautiful. Just beautiful. So those were my purchases from Stitch It Central. And a big shout out to Stitch It Central. They're a lovely shop. And they do have an online presence. If you are Canadian and you're looking for supplies, they do have an online shop. So Stitch It Central, and they are here in London, Ontario. Okay, next, I'm gonna pull a few things together here because I had mentioned that I had been thinking about how I wanted to use this. You see, life is funny how certain things come together. And then, you know, I bought a very large piece of R&R Reproductions that I seem to think that I really like these two things together. And then wouldn't you know it, you know, last year I received this in the mail, Long Dog Samplers, Castles in the Air. And I have mentioned that I was thinking of maybe having a birthday start this year. My birthday is not until July, so I have lots of time to plan. But I like to have something in mind that I'm really looking forward to that's super special. And so I can't think of anything more special than these three things together to look forward to. My very favorite color, dyed by a friend in Malaysia on my favorite linen with a pattern that was sent to me. Now, what I haven't told you, and I did talk about this pattern last year when I received it in the mail, but I'm just going to talk about it again because lots of you weren't watching me last year, or maybe you were watching and you've forgotten. I probably would forget too. That was a long time ago. I keep this letter in this pattern, Castles in the Air. This was sent to me by Pat Parrish, and I'm obviously not going to read you the entire letter, but I did want to read to you the first paragraph that Pat wrote to me. So this was last year. I'm going to say it would have been maybe just less than a year ago, because Pat and I, Pat was going to join me in stitching Hoity Toity when I started that on my birthday last year. And so she sent me this and she said, "Dear Caroline, I hope you enjoy stitching Castles in the Air as much as I did. Mine was done on 22 count hardanger with one strand of DMC 996. I've stitched one strand on 22 count hardanger before and it's stunning. It's stunning. It's really nice. Okay, it is beautiful and delicate, but I still have the back stitching to finish. I got sidetracked by Ink Circle's Cirque de Circle and have been working on that using a variegated floss. So that right there, that and the rest of the lovely letter is why I have kept this letter in with this pattern, because the very fact that she still had the back stitching to do, but she was sidetracked by Ink Circle's Cirque de Circle. Pat is my kind of stitcher, and you know, just the kind of woman that you know, that's me. That's just me to a T. Like, ooh, what's that? But she has this mostly finished. So she's like me, but I also aspire to be more like her because she had the whole thing done. And if I'm not mistaken, Pat has since then completed the back stitching on this amazing piece. So it's only fitting that because Pat joined me last year with the birthday hoity-toity sale, that I stitched the design for my birthday start this year that Pat sent me as a gift last year. So, anyways, so stitchers are amazing people, y'all. That is not something I say at all, but it seems appropriate here. One more thing. She said she had stitched it with one strand of 996. I actually looked that up because, well, I couldn't resist. And I know many of my colors, but I couldn't pick 996 off the top of my head. I have an old DMC color chart. When Kathy and Neil shut down, I managed to snag one of their old ones. Whoops. So it's got all of the numbers and all of the colors. I mean, it's old, so it's missing some of the new ones. Where is it? I found it earlier. So 996, are you ready for this? So just imagine castles in the air, stitched entirely in that color right there. There it is, 996. Isn't that stunning? On a 22 count Hardanger white, I mean, oh man, that would just be beautiful. So really, you know, we are not limited by what the designer puts on a pattern. We can turn it into anything that we want using our favorite colors and our favorite fabrics and counts, and, you know, 14 count Aida versus 40 count linen versus 22 count Hardanger, whatever floats your boat is, you know, what we should be doing. So I'm kind of excited about that. All right, I think I'm at the end of my, yes, and I have, the only thing I haven't talked about is my own personal whips, stitching. And I'm probably at least half an hour into this video and I haven't even talked about my own stitching at all. I am going to do a January roundup next week. Next Monday's Flosstube. Next Monday's Flosstube is going to be all about all of the projects that I worked on in the month of January, from where I started to where I got to at the end of the month. And then also, because Friday is the tick over to February, I will have this weekend to start working on the 3 different projects that I selected yesterday during high tea to switch over to. And so next Monday will be all about my projects in January. But for today, Corners and Curves hasn't progressed at all since my Friday Stitch With Me video. I haven't even put a single stitch in. Dido by Sampler Cove, I have not put a single extra stitch in that. I have worked on my Ginger Gerald Stories of the North part 1, and I fully expect to finish that by Friday. And I took a little video of where it is at the moment because it's over on my brand new Lowery frame, which I love. And so I took a little video of where my progress is on that. And then on next Monday's update, I will have it off the Q-snap and ready to show it to you. All finished. So that's the goal. The Lowery frame arrived in, I mean, it was lightning fast. I ordered it from the UK, from soandso.com, soandso.uk. something. So, S-E-W and S-O, so. The reason I ordered it was twofold. I wanted something to hold my Q-snaps because I hate holding onto Q-snaps and stitching one-handed. And secondly, I wanted a floor frame that I could keep down here in the living room that had a much smaller footprint so that my family wasn't feeling like I was pushing them out of the room. But my hearth side frame is large. So far, I'm starting to get used to it. I really like it. It is allowing me to stitch two-handed with my Q-snaps, which is awesome. I stitch with, and I talked about this on Friday, I use my dominant hand underneath and my left hand is on top. If it was the other way around and my dominant hand was on top and my left hand was underneath, I could see potentially having a problem with the Lowery because of where the tightener is, that my thread might get caught under where that thing is. But because my left hand is on top and my dominant hand is underneath, the thread tends to be going this way, so that part of the mechanism is out of the picture. So I think that actually works really well. When I first opened it up out of the box, I was slightly concerned that it was going to be troublesome to figure out how to put it together. Couldn't be further from the truth. It was dead easy. Really, really simple to put it together. You know, I am not stitching on a couch or anything that has a huge weighted footprint to it. So I do have a couple of really heavy books weighting it down, which isn't ideal because you can kind of see them under my chair. But I don't have another easily thought out plan to take care of that as of yet. I was too anxious to just get to using it. So, but I really like using it. My hearth side is still probably my preferred frame for, and I stitch big projects. I did buy the frame adapter for the Lowery. I have not tested that out yet, but I know Gerald uses his all the time and loves it. I suspect I will find the same thing. I love how small and compact it is, and I love that it's allowing me to use my Q-snaps and stitch two-handed. So the reasons why I purchased it have really, you know, it has accomplished its goals. So my little review of the Lowery. Now, if you're interested in any more information on the Lowery frame, I'm not going to do a video on the Lowery frame itself because Ginger Gerald has already done a very good one. I'm going to try and find his video, and I'll put a link to his Lowery review in my comment box below in case you're considering purchasing one for yourself. You can see how I think he shows how to put it together and how it works and how he stitches with it. And I remember watching it months and months ago, and it is one of the reasons why I decided to go with that route for something that was a little smaller. So great stuff. Other than that, so that's my whip, and I'll put in a little video here of where my progress is up until now. So as you can see, I don't have very much left. A little bit of 2/2 with the one flower on the one side, and then finishing off the 1/1 stitching with the blueberries. The 1/1, I'm using a 32 count linen. The 1/1 on 32 count is, it's, you know, it is what it is. It's not a lot of fun, but it's not hard. It's just tiny, and it's hard to see a lot of fast progress. So, but when you step back and you look at it, you can't replicate that effect. Not actually doing what Gerald tells you to do. So it is well worth it. And really there's not that much there. It's only the blueberries that are 1/1. All the rest of it is 2/2. And that's just me being a little bit of a baby, a little bit of a complainer. So looking forward to finishing that up so that I can get into part 2. That will be exciting. Okay, last but not least, shop update for today. So I haven't mentioned any of this before in this video or yesterday because, you know, it's a lot of life stuff. And I know sometimes a little bit of life stuff is okay, but when you start getting into a lot of life stuff, you know, you don't care. A lot of people don't really want to hear all that stuff. You're here for the crafting and the stitching. However, a few life things have affected Evertote in the last week. And so I just quickly wanted to share with you the shop update that I did last Thursday. When a few things have happened. Number one being that we've had major problems with our furnace in our house. And my business is here in my house. And so the furnace has been acting up since last weekend. And we are also in the middle of a terrible cold snap. So, sorry, I just had low power mode thing there. Long story short, it's just added a bit of a headache. One of those things. My dad is here today fixing it for us. We are so lucky. My dad, he's done our air conditioner, he's taken care of our furnace for years and years. He is now retired. I don't know what I'm going to do when he retires from taking care of my stuff because, well, we're going to have to find someone else that we trust. And I trust my dad. So the fact that he's able to help us out is worth its weight in gold. And Mom, thank you for lending him to us for a couple of days because actually, my dad's probably going to be stuck here for a few days because of the snowstorm. So I appreciate my mother letting him come and help us out. So, we had a couple of very cold days here where the furnace wasn't working. It was one night where we could not get it started and working again. And it was a little chilly in here. But we figured things out. My dad got it working yesterday and it was working overnight. He figured out what parts it needed. Anyways, like I said, you don't care. But it was one of those things causing a bit of a problem in my life. Second thing that happened, my sewing machine, my main sewing machine, decided that it really needed to be repaired. And I have a second machine. And so I thought, okay, well, no problem. I managed to find someone to repair it. I don't know when I'm going to get it back, but hopefully soon, this week. It is my main machine. And so I pulled out my secondary machine and realized that I have left the foot pedal to my secondary machine at the cottage, which is on an island, inaccessible at the moment. So I have no foot pedal for my second machine. So I borrowed a machine from Suzanne down at Knit Stitch and I got it home and realized that it's not big enough. It is not big enough for the capacity of how I make the bags. When I do a shop update and I make the bags, in order to have a wide variety of selection for people to choose from, I have everything at a certain stage. And then as the bags sell, I will finish them off and then send them on their way. Because it's just me sewing, and I can't predict what people are going to love, I can't predict what's going to sell first. And something that I think will sell first will sell last. And so if I spend all of my time making one particular bag and it doesn't sell, but the other thing that's really popular I haven't gotten to yet, well, that's not very good business practice. So I try to have a wide variety and I try to get everything to a certain stage, and then as they sell, I finish them off as quickly as I can, and I try to put that timing in the Etsy listing when it sells. And I did up everything to 1 to 2 weeks. I think it's like 14 days total maximum before I will get the bags out to you. And that's plenty of time with a working sewing machine. So, things are going to be a little slow to get out the door over the next week. If you've placed your order last Thursday, I apologize. It will not be going out in the next couple of days. I have managed to get my secondary machine working without the foot pedal. It has hand controls. But the way that I make my bags, I use both hands to manipulate as I sew, and the foot pedal is like the gas pedal, right? So I need both my hands. When I can only have one hand manipulating and the other hand has to be manipulating the buttons, it has slowed me down tremendously. So I'm still producing, bags are still coming out. Orders are still going to be going out. They're just going to be going out a lot more slowly until I get my main machine back. I am in contact with the man who is repairing it for me, and I'm fingers crossed getting it back this week. Once I get it back, it will be business as usual, and you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be sewing up a storm to get those bags out as quickly as I can. I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much for supporting the shop. www.evertote.com. I promise your bags are coming. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me at any time. Caroline@evertote.com. And that is it. So hopefully my sewing machine is repaired. My father right now is working on my furnace, so we will have heat and we will be ready for the storm that's coming. And if this video hasn't, if I haven't finished it by the time the storm starts, maybe I'll take some video of the snow as it starts. The wind seems to have died down again, so considering I think the furnace is off at the moment while my dad works on the repairs. So that would be good if the wind could just stay down, because we all know that once the wind starts whipping up, if you don't have good heat in place, it's gonna suck the heat out of this house really quickly. So fingers crossed. That's it for me today. Happy stitching, happy Monday. I will see you on Friday for Friday Off the Grid.